Oh. Oh. Sahana bhavatu. Sahano bhavatu. Sahaviryankaravavahai. Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti. There are two illusions playing, and there are two stages of realization. One is known as partial realization, the one is total realization. When you transcend the extrinsic illusion, you have reached partial realization, which is referred as Savikalpa Samadhi. When you transcend the intrinsic illusion, that is total realization, that is referred as Nirvikalpa Samadhi, where there is no division, demarcation, nothing. And remember this, the temporarily we also go through this Nirvikalpa Samadhi state, where there is no division, demarcations, nothing. Right? That is not what is referred here. Temporarily, what we go through is referred as deep sleep, a state of nothingness, where you are temporarily supposed to be in this Nirvikalpa Samadhi state. But that is temporary. Therefore, it is not realization, remember. Number one. Number two, when you are in that state of deep sleep, you are not aware that you are in the state of deep sleep. So therefore, for these two reasons, we say it is not. So you just enter into that state, you stay in that state for a while, and you get out of that state. Your entry into that state is not in your hands. The duration of your stay in that state is not in your hands. And you coming out of that state is also not in your hands. So therefore, you are enslaved in that state. You see, so for these reasons, we say what we are experiencing, even though we are also experiencing a state where there is no division, demarcation of this, we don't call that as Samadhi. See, so we still call it as Avastha only. It is still a state of your existence. So same thing here. It says, so that is not to be treated. So don't misunderstand. A lot of people treat that state of entering into nothingness gets compared to Nirvikalpa Samadhi, where you go blackout. You going blackout is not Nirvikalpa Samadhi, please. It's a state of total awareness. So don't mistake that, please. Okay. So having explained this, because there are many questions which are still pending for us to deal with, right? So as we progress, we'll deal with those things subsequently. So right now, whatever we have seen is more than sufficient for us to reflect, to think over, right? So whenever you are thinking, remember the example of rope and snake, right? So one of the most popular example, rope and snake, right? So same way here, rope is treated as Brahman, and snake is treated as world or the jiva, the individual. So either you can treat it like this or you can take it that way. So either case you can analyze in terms of what is this world and what is this Brahman, and what is the idea essentially we getting communicated is this. What is the relationship between the rope and the imaginary snake? What is the relationship? In what way that imaginary snake is related to the rope, and in what way the real rope is related to the imaginary snake? We cannot say there is a relationship, nor we can say there is no relationship. So, for a relationship to exist, essential criterion is they have to be distinct. Only then relationship is possible. So rope is different, snake is different. Now we cannot say rope and snake are the same thing when you are starting the analysis. But what is the conclusion you come to? The conclusion you come to is very different. When a boy sees a rope and he mistakes that rope to be a snake, you ask him to describe. He says the snake is 6 feet. The snake is black in color. The snake is 4-inch thick. The snake is coiled. Right. Now, you are making one statement. The boy has made 4 statements. Snake is this. Snake is this. Snake is this. He gives something, list. And now you are making one statement. The snake is rope. Okay. The boy says the snake is 6 feet. The snake is 4-inch thick. The snake is black, etc. You are saying snake is rope. Now, is rope hood property of the snake? The 6 feet, black in color, is a particular quality, a particular property of the snake. Right? Rope. If you say rope is property of that, no, we say no, sir. Rope is not property of the snake. One of the quality of the snakes. You can't add that as qualities of snakes. What are the qualities of snakes, sir? It will have this much thickness, the color, the length. All that is property. 6 feet is a length. 4-inch, when he says, he is talking about the thickness. The snake will have thickness, snake will have color, the snake will have length. Snake will be in particular position, coiled or straight or whatever, zigzag, anyway it can be. But we can never say snake is, one of the properties of that snake is rope hood. But then you are making a statement, snake is rope. That is exactly what the next topic is. World is God. So when he says world is God, within brackets, what you need to add? The snake is rope. Who's saying that? The boy is not going to say that. That statement can never be uttered by the boy. The boy can never say. Only you can make that statement. So, why I'm giving big, thing is, exactly like that boy will never agree to the snake is rope. Same way, you will not agree to whatever he is going to say. Suppose if you are agreeing, correct, sir, superb example, correct. That means you are not thinking at all. That means you are not seeing the snake at all, actually. If you were to be a person who has actually seen that snake and you are frightened by that snake, then only Shastra will speak to you. Right? You should see the world. You should be frightened by the world. Only then this will speak. Otherwise, this is just words. It will not speak anything to you. It will not inspire you. That's what I meant. When I say, it will not speak to you, means you will not get inspired by this statement. World is God. The snake is rope. Problem solved. See, if you understand that statement, problem solved. How can the problem be solved? All the questions we need to ask. That is what reflection is all about. See, that is not what the Guru will do. Now we have to do our homework. Right? So our homework is that. So here when he says world is God, what is referred to is snake is rope. Which rope? The rope which is real and the snake which is appearance, imaginary. I wouldn't say imaginary because imaginary means, where there is no rope at all, you can imagine a snake there. You see, that we don't call as illusion. You see, like the scriptures give the example, elephant in my palm. Now, that is not, illusion, please. Right? That is delusional. So, don't call it as imaginary, we call it as appearance. The appeared snake and the real rope. The appearance is nothing but the real rope. So what is he saying there is only this. So in your perception, before this, you need to understand this much. I'll just make it a little simpler. Right? In your perception, there are two things. Right? I'm not referring to the theory of perception, please. Okay. You see the rope. Right. Go back to the scene, the beginning of the scene. The boy coming running. In the twilight, the boy comes running to you and he is saying, there is snake, there is snake, there is snake. Okay. You are saying, there is rope. You will find two things in that statement. One which is common, another one which is unique. Right? There is Samanya Amsha and there is Vishesha Amsha. What is common? Common in both the statements is what? There is snake. The boy says, you are saying there is rope. What is common? There is. That there is common. Then what is Vishesha there? He says there is snake. You are saying there is rope. The difference is only with reference to the Vishesha, not with reference to the Samanya. Right? Now, there is a tussle. Who is correct? Whose Visheshatvam is correct? I am making same statement. I am saying there is rope. Or continuing with the same example, you are saying there is rope. The boy is saying there is snake. Now, how will you establish who is correct? You have to inquire. Inquiry is what do you do? You take a torchlight and light upon that. When you throw light upon that, the boy says what? The snake disappears, the rope appears. The moment the knowledge comes, whatever is getting deleted has to be of what? Is what we have seen already as ajnanam. Ignorance. Isn't it? What is the nature of ignorance? Nature of ignorance is the moment jnanam comes, whatever disappears is called ajnanam. With more jnanam, whatever gets deleted, that is ajnanam. So people say, sir, every time I read Bhagavad Gita, I'm getting new meanings to it. What does it mean? If my earlier understanding goes, the moment with the new understanding, what does it mean? That means whatever understanding I had earlier is what? It's not understanding, it is ajnanam. Now we think that is how you learn. That is the way in which you grow. That's what Vivekananda says. What is knowledge and what is ignorance? Says knowledge is the higher rung of the ladder. Ignorance is the lower rung of the ladder, he says. In the ladder, higher is knowledge, lower is ignorance. Why? The moment you go up, this becomes lower rung, no? So, in this statement, there are two aspects is there. One is a general, another one is special aspect. Now, there is no objections or there is no disapproval with reference to the general. There is something. In that, there is no tussle between you and that boy. Isn't it? Both of you are agreeing. There is something. That there is, in the existence of that, there is no doubt. Something is there. The only problem is, what is that something is where the fight is. What is the special nature of that? Is only the fight is. There is no doubts or there is no confusion. There we come and say, what you are carrying as the special attribute, which you are calling that as snake, is wrong. Actually, the attribute for that something is rope only. There is no snake hood there. There is only rope hood at that. Applying the same thing to us, what we say, all of us keep using the word I, isn't it? I, me, mine. We keep using the word regularly. What is the meaning you are going to give to that word I? In the hospital, when people are all sitting there, all of us have registered our name for vaccination. One person calls, Ishwaran. Immediately, I stand up. Who is Ishwaran? Immediately, I stand up and say, I am Ishwaran. There, when I say I am, that I is what? I am talking. I am listening. Right. I am walking. When you say walking, what is walking there? Body is walking, correct? But no, nobody says, my body is walking. All of us say what? I am walking. I am jogging. Say, I am talking. I am listening. Isn't it? So who is doing all these things? I am feeling. I am thinking. What I am thinking is, when you say, what is thinking is the buddhi, is the intellect. That is thinking. I'm sorry. In many of us, mind only thinks. Right. Intellect is not thinking. Mind has taken, dual role. Mind plays a dual role in most of us. So he himself plays the role of intellect also. He says, intellect, rest. I don't need to come. I'll take care. Your job also I will do. It's like many places we have our BMTC. Driver himself is the conductor also, issuing tickets. There are now two fellows, driver and conductor. Driver himself gives ticket also. It's like that. I'm thinking. When you say I'm thinking, what is this going on there? I. Every time you use that word I, you are attributing that I to what? There's something in me. There is no doubt about it. I exist. Is there any doubt on that? Huh? All of us can doubt the existence of God. Does God exist? We can doubt that. Where is he existing? All that we can doubt. But none of us can doubt, do I exist? Why? Because it is oxymoron. Because the fact that you are doubting is a proof of what? You exist. If you are not existing, how can you be there to doubt? There has to be a doubter, no, to have the doubt. Now, whenever we use the word I, there are two things, remember. What is it? There is one aspect which is common, general, and there is another aspect which is Vishesha, special. Common is what? I exist. Is there a doubt? There's no doubt any one of us have whether do we exist? Do I exist? I do exist. There's no doubt about it. Number one. Number two, See, there is a huge derivation for that. I'm not going into the derivation of how we have arrived at it. Okay. I'm just giving you directly the straight away, I'm just going into the conclusions. The second aspect we have is not only I exist, I also am conscious that I exist. Right? I exist, I don't have a doubt. Number one. Number two, I am also a conscious being. Is there any doubt whether are you a conscious being or not? All of us will say what? Of course, I am a conscious being. So, I exist and I am conscious. In these two aspects, there is no doubt we have. None of us have doubts on that. Only in that Visesha, there is a problem. That special attribute that we have to ourselves is, I am a conscious individual, we say. Right? That is where the master comes and says, no, you are a conscious Brahman. So, that Brahman is what equated to rope. The individual, what we call as this limited, restricted, constricted individual I am, the jiva, the samsari, who is suffering the samsaric existence. This is a wrong notion, we say. What is the proof that it is a wrong notion? Because we are saying, I am a conscious individual. The Shastra says, no, you are conscious Brahman. Right. Who is correct now? The moment you start this inquiry process, as you intensify your knowledge, your awareness, your alertness, your jnanam, what happens? Aham jiva, that idea disappears. Since that disappears, we go back to the basic thumb rule of ignorance. What is the rule of ignorance? Nature of ignorance. Moment knowledge comes, whatever disappears, that is called ignorance. Now, aham jivatvam, aham jiva disappears. Therefore, the jiva bhava is mithya. You're all with me. That is a derivation part of it. Right. Now here, he goes little easy on us. Right. First one, the last topic, this intrinsic and extrinsic illusion topic is a heavy topic. So he just makes it little easier for us with examples. Now we have to derive the ideas. Now he says, if you people are capable of deriving, you derive. If you cannot derive, don't ask me to derive for you. But I'm just giving you the idea, he says. So the idea he covers in the very title itself. He says that misunderstood jivatvam is nothing but brahmatvam. That is only rope. The snake that you are seeing is nothing but rope. What I have explained to you is internally, we call it as jivatvam. You put it external, that is referred as world. Right. Internally, it is individual. Externally, it is called world. Since we are started the discussion from world, he just continues from the world only. Right. Today I just brought this idea so that it becomes a little easier. I believe so. Right. But in the course of the discussion, it is moving. The discussion started with the idea of creation of the world. Since we started from the discussion of creation of the world, it's just continuing in that same saying, world is God. Okay. Read that topic.
World is God. The world is not created by God. The world is God, Brahman. The elements that constitute the world are all Brahman. But when the component elements are brought together, the resultant formation seems different. The resultant acquires properties different from those of the components. Here are examples to substantiate this truth. Take the example of 4 triangles as in figure 1. They are right-angled triangles. Place the 4 triangles with their vertices meeting at a point. They form a square as in figure 2. Study the 2 figures. The components are the triangles. They combine to form a square. The square is created as a result of combining the triangles. The triangles have each 2 acute angles and a right angle. The hypotenuse is longer than the other 2 sides, whereas the square has all right angles and the sides are equal. The properties of the resulting formation are different from the properties of the original components. The new properties have risen from a new combination, a new formation of the components. The resultant is just a new name, a new form. No creator need be brought into this phenomenon. In another example, 2 atoms of hydrogen combine with an atom of oxygen to form a molecule of water. Hydrogen is a combustible gas. Oxygen, a gas supporting combustion. Their combination produces water which extinguishes combustion. A combustible gas combines with a combustion supporting gas to form a combustion extinguishing liquid. It is incredible, but true. The resulting compound owes its status to a new name, new form, new configuration. Another fascinating example is that of the element carbon. Charcoal is carbon, diamond is carbon. Charcoal is black, dull, whereas diamond is brilliant. Charcoal is soft and it can mark on paper, while diamond is hard and it can cut through metal. Charcoal is cheap, diamond precious. Notwithstanding all these differences, both are made of carbon. The differences are in the structure of the carbon atoms in them. They differ only in the combination of the same component element. The different combinations create the wide disparity in the properties of the resultant form and name. Nothing else. Vedanta declares, therefore, the difference between Brahman and the world is the difference between the triangles and square, between hydrogen, oxygen, and water, between carbon and charcoal diamond. The same divinity that is Brahman is the world. The world is not any different from Brahman, and yet they seem opposed in their nature. Brahman is eternal, all-pervading, infinite, while the world is ephemeral, limited, finite. All the differences lie just in name and form, in combination and configuration, resulting in a mere illusion. You must get off the illusion, realize your true self. Then there is divinity alone. The supreme reality reveals itself.
Now, this is the idea. It says the world is not created by God. Now, that is what first we analyzed. So what is the relationship between God and world? Exactly like what is the relationship between the rope and snake? What is the relationship between the two? Is the same relationship between world and God. So first thing we say is, he is not created. Rope did not create the snake. So then what is it? The snake that you are experiencing is nothing but rope. Same way, he says, the world is God, Brahman. Another name for Brahman is God. Now, Brahman and God, very technically, if you want to understand, there is a difference. Brahman is a term used for Brahman without guna, without Brahman being mixed with Maya. When Brahman gets mixed with Maya, there it loses its name. Brahman, it is referred to as Ishvara. Just a Sanskrit word, that's all. So that is what he is indicating by saying the world is God. Within brackets, what you have to add? Saguna Brahman or Ishvara. And Brahman means Nirguna Brahman. Whenever we use the word Brahman, we don't have to keep qualifying that, saying it is Nirguna Brahman, Nirguna Brahman. Understood is it is Nirguna Brahman only. So he says, the world that we are experiencing is nothing but this only. Then what are we experiencing? We are experiencing all these elements, right? Space, air, fire, water, earth. These are the 5 elements that we are experiencing. All that we are experiencing as elements is what? Brahman. So when we say world, world is equal to elements. Elements are all nothing but Brahman. Then immediately the question will come to all of us. Sir, elements are very different, but Brahman is very different. How come the properties of elements and the properties of Brahman? Because Brahman, you say there is no guna in that. How come this? From where did this develop those properties? From where these things got that properties? That is a question we ask. For that only the whole explanation is given. When these properties were brought together, the resultant will look very different. So he gives the examples. Examples are very simple. Now you don't need to have a great understanding, but it's one of a fascinating example. Oxygen is having totally different property. Hydrogen nature is totally different. We combine these two, you get water, which is exactly opposite of this. This charcoal and diamond is another example. It's a classic one. Both are carbon. This is also made up of carbon, that is also made up of carbon. How is it that? It's very difficult. In chemistry, these people, they reduce everything to carbon. They reduce you and me also to carbon. If you go to this chemistry fellow, he will say, you are also carbon only. Everything they reduce to this carbon. So the whole thing is reduced to one idea, carbon. That's all it is. From where all this is coming? It's all coming from this basic. So what is the relationship? Establish the relationship between this and that. In this, what we need to understand is there are two ways it happens. One, rope itself transforms into becoming a snake. Is that what is happening here? No, 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 we say. That is where we need to understand. This is in that material, the basic material is same. All these examples, whatever he is giving, is the fundamental material is same. What is in the carbon example? What is a fundamental material? One fundamental material. Right. Now each example gives one angle. Remember, each example has its own strength and its own weakness also. Right. So illustrated one is only for that particular angle. Don't take it beyond that point. So essential property is only one. Essential substance is only one. What is it? That is carbon. Same carbon, combine, mix match. It becomes this. Same carbon, mix match in another form becomes something else. One becomes a charcoal. The properties of charcoal is totally different. Another one is diamond. The properties of diamond is totally different. Not only different, it's exactly opposite actually. But both are made up of what? Same carbon only. Fundamental element is carbon only. There is no change in that. What is this? We say. That is where we give two things we say. One is the carbon becomes charcoal. Carbon became diamond. Right. In that becoming, there are two types of becoming. One type of becoming is what is referred to as parinama. Material, the fundamental material goes through a process of parinama and changes. For example, the milk transforms to become curd. Right. Material is what? Milk. Upadana. This material is referred to as parinama upadanam, is what is the reference of it. Where the cause itself transformed in producing the effect. Wherever the cause itself transforms to produce the effect, it is referred as, it is known as parinama upadana. One form of transformation. There is another aspect is also there. Another type of material. This is one type of material. Few things goes through that fashion. Another type of material is vivarta upadana. It is referred to as. In this vivarta upadana, the cause, the fundamental substance, the fundamental cause, without undergoing any change, produce the effect. Now, in world and God, God is what now? You have to establish. Is God is the upadana, material, correct. God is a fundamental material. But what type of material is God? Is God a parinama upadana or vivarta upadana? What he is establishing here is God is vivarta upadana, is what he is establishing. I'm just giving Sanskrit word, that's all. Nothing else. But you need to understand the concept, what he is trying to establish here. What he is giving through all these examples is, has the properties of the triangles changed? No. It is just positioned. That's about it. You just position those four things where the four triangles with their vertex meeting at a point. You just have to place them at a point. Suddenly what happens? The new formation got created called square. Suddenly these two changes. The triangles created this square. Has that transformed? Has it changed? Has it lost anything? Did it undergo any change? Nothing has happened. So, God becoming world is not parinama. So what is it, sir? Thereby, so many questions gets resolved here. God has become, so now if God has become the world, then where is God now? If the milk has transformed into curd, where is milk now? There is no milk now, no. There's only curd now, isn't it? There is milk. Or are you going to say, no, it's not the whole of God, it is only one part of God became world. What he's establishing is, no. It's not that parinama of the whole can happen, parinama of the part also can happen. Remember, it's not the whole part, it's only one part. Like when you buy mangoes, only one part of it is spoiled. So what we do? Chop that, throw, eat the rest of it, no? Isn't it? It's not that the entire mango is spoiled. One part of mango is spoiled. So what do? You cut that and throw. Same way, has the whole God or part God? Vedanta says no. Why? Because it is not falling into the category of parinama upadana itself. Then what type is this? It is vivarta upadana. It is another type. Where is that? That is the example given, is the rope and snake. So immediately I have to go back to the rope and snake. So if that is the case, then what is it, sir? It is like the rope and snake. The effect side is dependent on the cause. The effect is dependent on the cause. But cause has not undergone any change. Therefore, what is this connection? The connection is the world has its basis in Brahman. That's all. World has its basis in Brahman. Exactly. Like diamond has its basis in carbon. Charcoal has its basis in carbon. The square has its basis on this right angle triangles. Water having its basis on hydrogen and oxygen. Same way, this. But how come there is suddenly the properties of this has changed? the effect is of different order of being from the cause, isn't it? In this, what we understand is, in these examples and all that, what we understand is, the effect is of different order of being from the cause. The order of being of the effect is different from the order of being of the cause. What is the order of being of this carbon? What is this? Suddenly we see the things which is not there in the cause appearing in the effect. From where all those things appeared? All with me. From where? See, carbon has a order. Charcoal has a very different order from carbon. Diamond and charcoal we can understand. This is of different order, sir. That is of different order, sir. But we do see the order of the effect, order of being of the effect, and the order of being of the cause itself is different. From where that came? The person who says this is rope is not having any fear, whereas a person who says this is snake, there is snake, is frightened. The fear element came from where? From where that possibility of this poison, fear, death, pain, so many things triggered, no? What is it that triggered all those things? That is what is known as Maya. That Maya is the cause, he says. Get over that Maya, what will happen? Along with that, all these things also will disappear. When you get over that Maya, when you realize the self, you would be able to do all this. Then the student will ask one question. Sir, why I have to break my head with your rope and snake? Why should I, for what we have to study the subject Vedanta? Why should I study Vedanta? For what it is? Because Vedanta is also where we are studying in the world. If you are going to be studying Vedanta in the world, Vedanta is part of the world. If world being illusion, Vedanta also illusion. Right? Now you are saying that part of illusion don't worry, this part of illusion worry. Isn't it? Don't study times, read eternities. He says no, like that. Why we have to bother, break our heads to understand what is the superimposition, why this superimposition, how that has come into picture? For what I have to pay attention to all these things? Because this is also part of illusion only, according to you, not according to me. If this is also part of illusion, why are we going to do this? Why should I pay attention to this? Why break my head? Sir, if illusion is really there, if Maya exists, it will limit Brahman. If illusion is not existing, how can you account for the world? So many questions come, no? See, as long as we are not thinking, we don't have an issue. Won't we say, why break about illusion? Man, forget about illusion. Don't worry about this Maya chapter itself. Keep it aside. There are few things, we prefer to keep aside from Vedanta. There are two ideas which are very, very popular. They say, sir, remove these two ideas from Vedanta. Rest of Vedanta and all we agree. Rest of the Shastras we are all fully with. These two things we should delete. One is this. I'm not going to tell you what is the other. Don't ask me, sir, what is the other one? Two things we want. Everyone is not an exception. They say, sir, remove it. You say Brahman is infinite. Huh? How does infinite comes out of itself became finite? Infinite means what? All-pervading. All-pervading means there's no place where it is not existing. Then how can it come out? Snake came out of the rope. Huh? Rope is all-pervading. If rope is all-pervading, in snake and rope example, snake can come out of rope. Why? Because rope is not all-pervading. All knowledge. We don't claim the rope to be all knowledge. Here we say Brahman is all-pervading, all knowledge, Jnana Swarupi, Swayam Prakasha, etc. How can this come out of that? All this metaphysical epistemology and this and that, playing with words and statements and things is waste of time. Tell us what are we supposed to do in the world. That's more relevant than inquiry into study of what is this Maya. Why? It is too vague, too confusing, and more than all this, it appears irrelevant. Why? First of all, you need to establish the existence of Nirguna Brahman. No. How are you going to establish the existence of Nirguna Brahman? You got to establish that first, isn't it? How are you going to do that? That itself we don't know. And then, if Brahman is there, let it be known. Why should I know about him? You see, all these questions bombards the student, and the student finally says, I don't want to study this. Leave me. I don't want to study Vedanta itself. That's why he is giving the final topic. Why heed illusion? Is the next topic. Another fascinating topic. Very, very important one. To probe in, to understand why we should listen to this Vedanta. Why should we study Vedanta? What is the very purpose of studying Vedanta? Otherwise, why? What is this knowledge? And then you say, with this knowledge, what are you to do? Nothing you have to do. Just study Vedanta. That is enough. Nothing else. Just understand. Okay, what am I supposed to do after understanding Vedanta? You don't have to do anything. Just understand Vedanta. That is enough. You are confusing even more actually. At least say, it is not enough, man. It is not just enough for you to understand Vedanta. It is not just enough studying Vedanta. You got to practice also. You have to act on that also. If we say, correct. Now, what these fellows are saying is, no. All that you have to do is what? Just understand. It's rope. That's all. Okay, what about the snake? Allah, don't worry. You don't have to do anything. Just understand there is rope. Huh? What you need to remember is this. We are talking to the person who is fear-stricken with the existence of snake. Not like you and me. For you and me, the example of rope and snake is what? It is purely ideological. It's just an idea. That's about it. There is no reality to it. Now here, it's not that. You got to visualize. This is where you need a lot of imagination here. You are actually speaking to the person who has seen the snake. And he is scared of it. To him, if you go and say, nothing you need to do. First thing he will say is, let there be a rope. I agree with you, but let's take a stick along with us. Isn't it? Imagine, no. Even if you tell that boy, hey, there is no snake, man, there is only rope. He says, I agree with you, sir, there is only rope. But for whatever it is, what is wrong in carrying a stick? Suppose if there is a snake, to chase the snake away, you need a stick. No, let's carry the stick is what he will say. Isn't it? That is exactly what we are all doing now. Now, what Vedanta says is, you don't need to carry that stick. To chase that snake, you don't need stick. Will you believe? Will he agree? He will say, sir, if you don't want to carry the stick, I will carry the stick. Give me that. What's wrong with you? Is what he will say. Vedanta says nothing. Just heed. What is it all that you have to listen to? You just have to listen, understand there is rope. That's all. The snake is rope. That's all you need to understand. Everything. Now, he will refuse to agree. He will refuse to follow. But he says, you have to follow. On what basis? Why? What is the logic for it? This entire book to produce that effect, to produce a fruit. So far in our life, we have seen effects coming about only when you act upon. We have never known in our life where just knowing is enough into itself to produce the effect. What is the desired effect here? The desired effect is, I want to get rid of the fear of that snake. As long as there is snake, there will be fear. So, if I have to get rid of the fear of the snake, I have to get rid of the snake. Isn't it? Otherwise, why that boy is coming to you and telling you there is snake, there is snake? He's telling you there is snake so that you can go along with him. Both of you can chase the snake away. Drive the snake away. To drive away that snake, what is needed? Stick is needed. Now, what are you doing? You are saying, stick are not needed. If you say, will he listen? He says, you should listen. Why? Why heed illusion? He says, why you have to heed an illusion? The question itself is pregnant here. Why this? The question itself is fantastic is because it's like telling to chase, to drive away the snake, what is needed? Stick is needed or just a statement is needed? Just like that you say, snake is rope. Is enough? That snake will will run away, will disappear. He is refusing to believe it. To him, the Shastra insists, saying, you better heed this. We'll see why, what the problem is, and how Vedanta, just with that knowledge, resolves the issue. The issue gets resolved just with knowledge, enough into itself. We'll see that in the next class. Thank you.